I just want to give some updates, answer some questions, talk about what this year might look like. And so I'm really glad you're here. If you're coming on and you're on live with us, then you can ask questions in the chat, and be glad to answer them. I'll just talk about some of the broad, overstrokes of what's going on and where I'm at and things like that. And but if this is recorded, then if you're looking to get answers to some questions, you can ask those questions at State Citizen at DestinationFreedom.org, and we'll see if we can get you that there, or else we might just direct you to the next call. And there it goes. That's nice. That's very nice. Destination Freedom. And but if you get this recording and you like it and it's a blessing to you, then please like and subscribe to our channel, whatever that is. And we're glad that you're part of our community. So let's see, things coming up. Well, let me just say where I'm at right now. I am in the great state of Montana, and I'm out here with a client, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm away from the office right now, and the staff is holding down the fort. That's some great people to have helping, and that I'm very thankful for. And then, so I'm in Montana. I'm going to talk about that coming up next month. I think it was like, let's see, it's the 8th. I think I'd seen something recently here. It's like 34 days or something till we head out for an Acapulco in Acapulco, Mexico. How about that's going to be so much fun. And of course, as I said before, Michael is going on that trip, and so is Ama. She's going to be a part of that as well. We work really hard, and sometimes you got to play really hard, and heading out to Acapulco is going to be a joy. So I'm thankful, and we're going to enjoy the flight. We got a first class trip. It's like, man, I've flown in. They crunch you like sardines in these airplanes. So I sit back there and I'm thinking, my life is more important than this. I'm doing good work. I deserve first class. It's not much better. Oh my word. They still, I got on the plane the other day and yesterday or day before, and the flight was delayed, so they give me this little bitty tiny little mimosa drink. It was in the morning, like, okay, I can have the mimosa. Okay. But anyway, Acapulco's coming up in February, and I would love to see you there. I would love to meet you. We can, have drinks, and who knows, maybe we'll have some dinner together. That would be a blast. We're hoping to, if I can figure out the logistics, like to see about getting on a whale watch out there on Acapulco Bay. I've done that before, different years, a couple years ago. Did whale watch kind of thing, and we did see some whales, but it is the South Pacific, and so it's quite lovely in February, especially coming out of New England as cold as it is. Man, I'm getting to be like a wimp when it comes to winter. Holy macaroni! So, but it is snowing here in Montana. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm doing here in Montana for the work. And again, if you have questions, I'll be sure to answer them. But you can just write them in the chat, and I'll get them answered for you. If you're seeing this live on Facebook, I don't know if you can ask questions live on Facebook or stream that. I don't know if those come up, but YouTube has live chat on there, so you can come over to YouTube, and we'll be glad to take your questions. And again, we'll get to that later. So Montana, why we're here. One of our clients and a good friend is his name is Scott. He invited me out because he doesn't know how to govern himself. He He has very fast, nice cars, and so he's driving too fast. That's one way you can keep cops from your door is keep your car in shape and drive right. Stop speeding anyway. So, but it's interesting. Um, he was in Southern California. He's got a place down there, and so he was speeding down there. I don't know. He had some flashy sports car or something, and so he got a $100 ticket down there in Southern California, and then he was up in his place here in Montana, and he was speeding and got another $100 ticket. So the good thing about it is that when he did his driver's license up here in Montana, because he'd recently moved from Southern California to Montana, and he moved to Montana. So when he did his driver's license, which is what we want our clients to do when they do the passport process, um, you want to do your application for driver's license in a way that's congruent with your passport process. And so therefore, um, he had his explanatory statement, and he got that certified from the state. So that's part of his record. In that explanatory statement, we do mention the fact that he is restoring his right to travel, or at least are holding on to that, and that he's not driving as is commercial activity, and that he's not transporting goods or people, so he's not serving the public in the capacity that he's traveling in his automobile. So that information in a number of federal court cases associated with the right to travel, we had that in his explanatory statement. We do that for our clients with the alignment workshop. That's part of it. And so he's got those certified documents coming from the state to submit as evidence. So I don't know that the court has ever seen anything like that. I remember when we were doing this one case where the um, the judge invites the cop to describe the story, which he's going to go with the cop every time. And so the cop went through all this stuff, and and they said that he had a radar detector and it's certified and blah blah blah. And so at the end of that, um, the judge asks him, "Do you accept this information, this evidence of the certification of the radar detector?" And of course, his answer was, "It's not relevant. We're challenging jurisdiction." And so every time they were wanting him to plea or do something, he was going to say, "It's not relevant. We're challenging jurisdiction." And so that's happening. And so the reason I'm out here is because in Montana, if you have a ticket, $100, you can do a trial by jury. So they're going to actually convene a jury to sit in and determine his you know his speeding ticket, which is not going to be relevant because we're challenging jurisdiction. So that's exciting. And so tomorrow we'll be at pretrial where they want to convene the juries. And so we know that in New Hampshire, um, well, I know also both in New Hampshire and Montana that they um determine that you're on a jury by the 14th Amendment. The federal citizen is the one that's on a jury. So, um, so we have all this evidence and stuff that we're going to deal with the jury. We're challenging that the state has doesn't have the ability to convene a jury of his peers because he's not a federal citizen or resident alien. So, so that's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. And so I'm going to be there, and then also, and so we also have that kind of same kind of court, not a trial in California. They're just doing like court work. But we were on a Zoom call with respect to that one, and so the judge kept saying, "I haven't gotten any of your paperwork. I haven't got." So he mailed that. He's submitted the documents. He's emailed them a number of times. So it's interesting. They're looking at it, and so they pushed that case off quite a bit. So I'm really looking forward to being there in the court and slowing things down and really um, creating the controversy that he's not a federal citizen or resident alien, and he doesn't have an obligation uh, to pay these fines and what have you. And he also has um, the certificate of origin for his car, so it's not even doesn't even need to be registered. Although he did register it, acknowledging those things, so that's exciting. So all these things are different, but it's all part of the same thing that we do for clients all the time. So that's what I'm down. That's what I'm up here, out west in Montana, and so I'll be here for the rest of some of most part of next week, unless of course they dismiss it for some reason. So that's what I'm doing out here, and I love this work. One of the things we were talking about was because he's not a federal citizen or a 14th Amendment citizen, we're challenging the state's ability to um, convene a jury of his peers. And we're going to do that work and challenge the court because if the jurors are all 14th Amendment citizens, they're not a jury of his peers. He's not a statutory citizen, and that's going to be relevant. So we're going to work on that, and we'll keep you posted as to what happens with that, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's what I'm out here, and then I'll make my way back to New Hampshire, and then we'll be preparing for an Acapulco. An Acapulco, if you you have another. We can put the link right here. Acapulco, right there. There you go. See, that's high tech, just like Hollywood downtown. Anyway, so I hope you join us in Acapulco. We'd love to see you there, be with you, and that'll be a good time. And I mentioned uh, preparing. One of the things we want to do is Michael and I were going to go to Lieberland, and Lieberland is. If you haven't heard of it, you can go to this link here and go check out their website. Um, they're creating a free nation with electronic citizenship or digital citizenship, and so they're developing that place and taking on investors and all sorts of things. So I just like the idea of somewhere in the world they're creating a freedom community. I want to be a part of helping secure that. Well, that'd be great. So that's kind of cool. And so those I mentioned before about things coming up that we're going to be participating in, and then we'll get into the Pork Fest in the summertime. But so that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of things to get done and do, um, and I'm blessed with that. Looks like wow, we got some comments coming up. Let's get into some of that. Um, yeah, so Gaton Negro, he's going to join us in from Miami into Mexico. That'll be the best. Looking forward to that. Um, that'll be cool. So, if you're going to be in Mexico, I'm gonna do a live class down there later on the week. That'll be a lot of fun. Some of the people are going to be up for taking that class. I'm going to do 2 mornings at um, 2 mornings after my talk. I'm doing a talk on Wednesday. I don't know what time of day, but or I don't know if it's day or night. I don't know exactly when that schedule is, but that'll be on Wednesday. And the next 2 days we'll do our state citizenship class. That'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, so it should be cool. It's probably gonna be nice and hot like it is in the South, and it'll be a good time. And then let's see what else here. Standing in the sunny news, I'm in Baja, hoping to continue on to Acapulco. Oh, that's just great. Yeah, see, I love that. The idea of hooking up with some of the people that we have in our community. That'll be a good time. We'll have drinks or we'll go out to dinner or do something. It'll be fun. But that'll be a joy. Look at that. See, in the East Coast, it's already dark out here in Montana. The sun's probably set, but it's still light out. That's crazy. All right. That's good. From Miami. Yeah, I like Miami. I'd like to be in Miami. I think this spring we're gonna be in Florida. Gonna be down in Central Florida, stay in a resort there. Of course, we'll visit my uncle and aunt in the Ocala area, south of Ocala, in the villages, near the villages, and hopefully we're gonna get to hook up with them and see them. And so I'll be for about a month and a half. I'll be down there in Florida, and I'd like to get down to spend a little time in the Key West. I love the Key West area. There's some nice places down there. I always like places that'll have some nice restaurants and good people to hang out with. So this is um, so talking about this next year. I'm very excited. Every year I'm excited. It's a good time to change over and to like shake off whatever the funky stuff was associated with last year. And listen, we we did better last year with respect to connecting with people and setting people up in the classes than we did the year before. And so, um, thanks to Jeff Berwick and the Dollar Vigilante and their support and interest in our work. We had a number of people that came on that came from seeing that video that Jeff did of the interview at his house, and yeah, turned a lot of people on, and we're grateful for that. And yeah, if you don't realize that you can eliminate your income tax liability, I mean, this is the place to come to and to do. We can help you do that. And you don't have to be by yourself. You can just uh, learn what paperwork to do, what things you do with your passport process when you change from being a federal citizen to being a citizen of your state. And you do that with the State Department. We'll get certified copies of your passport file signed by the Secretary of the United States. And so that's that's quite exciting when you see that. I was just trying to see that the other day. I mean, I have some of my paperwork here because we're going to be in court using some of that. But but yeah, like I get my certified documents of my passport file. See what they do is they put a rivet in there, and there's it's sealed. Obviously, who was the Secretary of State? Oh, this is signed by John Kerry when he was the Secretary of the United States. See, actual wedding signature of John Kerry right there on this page right here. Isn't that delightful? Oh wait, no, this is not. This one's not mine. This is um, wow. Oh no, no, that's a yeah. These are mine. These are mine. Yeah. Oh, that's weird because there's a it looked like a client's name, but no, these are mine. Yeah, this person signed off on them that they're certified. You can see years ago. This is my, um, you can't see all this here, but here's my application and stuff like that. This is one of my first ones, and so that's exciting. We and so this gets certified. You can enter this into the record either like in the county, or you can enter this into record in court action and show um, that you're not a federal 14th Amendment citizen subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And that's exciting. So anyway, that's part of why we do what we do, so we can have a good basis of fact and evidence to support the claim, not being a federal citizen or resident alien. So, gosh, looking at all that stuff here. Here's a question that someone has out there. It says, interested in your services, reach out via the website 3 times. 3 times? Man, that's not good. Well, 3 times the charm is what they say. So it says, can you accept 1099A for payment? I don't know what 1099A is for a payment. And so probably not. We'll accept cash. You can have that tracked and mailed to us. We do take crypto. I'll take Bitcoin, Monero, R. I probably would take Ethereum, um, and then and also we'll do let's see, cash, crypto, or PayPal. You can do it with a credit card or debit card on PayPal and send that over to us. So we take many types of payment. So I don't know what 1099A is. I mean, I know what a 1099 is, but I don't see that has anything to do with payment. Acquisition or abandonment of secured property. Nah, we definitely don't take that. That Yeah, that's just too funny though. But thanks, Sparky. Thanks for the offer, but I don't recognize that's something that somebody else would want from me, so therefore I'm not interested in that. The cable guy still wants Federal Reserve notes, so until that whole thing shits to bed, we'll be accepting Federal Reserve notes as needed. So so that's kind of cool. Um, but anyway, there was some questions that had come up, and I want to make sure that I answer. I mean, think Alma had sent them over to me, so I want to address that. And I talked to someone today on the same subject. So here's the question: doesn't say who wrote that question, Alma, but anyway, do I need to opt out of Social Security benefits before taking the full service class, or does the government automatically stop payment when the process is complete? Well, let me tell you this about the process is that I've never seen the government react like as if it triggered something to stop or undo or whatever it is with respect to doing the passport process. It is just that, a passport process, but you're doing it as a state citizen. So it isn't that the government recognizes something that they have to do or undo. Um, the question was, do I have to stop receiving payment? Um, well, actually, they're not saying, oh, they can I opt out of Social Security benefits. So they're not making a mention that they're receiving Social Security. But here's the thing. I'm pretty confident that there's a way to interrupt receiving check or payment from Social Security. Um, I will just have to locate that. But some people do automatic deposits in their accounts, so they'll just have to interrupt that. And but I do recommend not receiving benefits from the District of Pedophiles. I do recommend stopping being on the public dole because the truth of the matter about Social Security, contrary to the way you feel about it, Social Security is an entitlement. It is, well, and look at how many people are holding on to it because I deserve it, you know. But Social Security is a senior welfare program. That's all it is, you know. And so there's no money. There is no money in the Social Security fund. They're paying you from the general fund. And just so you know, if you didn't realize that the federal government has no money, interesting thing is the way that they balance the budget is a portion of the budget, the majority of the budget is financed by way of debt. Means they borrow it from central bankers in order to balance the budget. What an atrocity that is. So so there's no money in Social Security. You're on the public doles. It is welfare, and it's called senior welfare. If you've never read the 1935 Social Security Act, and um, and it's an entitlement, you know. So we wouldn't want you to create a tax liability receiving Social Security, you know. So it is that. So it's sad to say. There was someone that was going to be on, and Elizabeth, and she said she'll be watching. She had questions about the FOIA. So I don't know if Elizabeth is on right now, but if she does come on, she can ask the questions about FOIA. Maybe she could have mentioned that, and I would have answered right away. But we'll wait until she shows up. The FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act request in which you're asking for documents, and that the government has obligations to disclose those documents or what have you. So there's two kinds of things associated with FOIA that are handled in a Freedom of Information Act request. One is for documents, of course. That's pretty common. The other is if you're looking for having certain legal questions or certain governmental questions answered, that would be a formal way through FOIA to get those questions answered. So that's a cool thing. So, um, so anyway, so that's part of the passport process is to finalize your process and get certified copies of your passport file signed by the Secretary of the United States. So right now it's Blinken, I think. Well, up until the 20th, which is another 12 days from now. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Coming up in the news, big news story. Um, the Gulf of Mexico is quitting. If you didn't know that, the Gulf of Mexico is quitting. Yep, they're sick and tired of being called. the Gulf of Mexico. So they're changing their pronouns to from Mexico to America. And thanks to Donald Trump, he's going to invite all the cartology experts of the world to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Another thing that Trump can poke people in the eye with. Um, and so, it is called North America for whatever it's worth. Um, but again, who lobbies who for changing the name of a Gulf? So now it'll be the Gulf of America. That's so funny. There were some other things that convoluted things he was going to do. I think it's funny. So there was a time when Florida and all the south part of America was Mexico, and so therefore the entire Gulf was around Mexico, hence calling it the Gulf of Mexico. But we don't want to talk about that past history. When you conquest, at least they're gonna shoot to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to America without having to murder somebody. That's a good thing. So that's pretty funny. There you go. Sparky asks the question: can I start my private business before I get my documents or FOIA back? Yeah, of course. Um, I mean, you can start that anytime you want. A lot of times, people will start the passport process. That means they submit documents to the State Department, and then the moment that you submit those documents under penalty of perjury, then that's true, and you can move ahead other things that you see and that you want to do. So you don't have to wait till you got your FOIA done, or and you got everything back. You can start it once you start the process. It's submitted under as penalty of perjury, and then you can begin to do other things to do the driver's license process. When you do take and do the passport process, either by the passport workshop or the full passport process or service where we do your paperwork for you. Once you start that, then of course you can do other things at the same time. You don't have to wait till one's complete before you start another one. So that's kind of cool. As far as your business, making your business private, that would just mean that if you have an LLC or C Corp, S Corp, or whatever kind of corporation, you can shut that down. If you have tax ID numbers on your bank account, you want to shut that bank account down as well, because there's no reason for you to go into business with government and trust the government in your business um, while you're while you want to do business. So they're offering privileges and immunities, and anytime you're getting privileges and immunities from the government, it costs you something. So we recommend that you do your business in a private capacity. But as soon as you start the process, you can do that. One of the good things about doing this, our broadcast here in the studio, is we do have a live studio audience with us today on the show. I got Scott in the background here. He's part of the. If you feel moved to applaud and all that, then you can do that. But there you go. A studio of one. And of course, the team back in the office, they're always big fans of our process here. So that's kind of cool. Um, let's see. Here's some questions. That's great. Thank you for your questions. This also is Sparky. It says, do you have a class about how to learn how to run a private business in regards to paying, hiring others? I'm not sure how to deal with the 14 citizens, employees. That's great. That's a great question. And so there's a couple things with respect to that. One is, if you're doing these processes, someone the other day called up that hadn't done the passport process yet, and he was still employed by an employer. And I said, well, and he thought that he could amend the W-4 form that would fit, but you can't, because the W-4 form allows the corporation or the business you're working for to withhold on your behalf as if you have a tax liability. And so you're not going to typically get this corporation to join you in your tax stand. It's not likely. It puts an unhealthy burden on them. And as a good employee, you don't want to put a burden on on your employer. That would not be kind. So that's why we always tell our clients that you're going to end that relationship as being an employee. Nobody's going to be an employee that eliminates their income tax liability and does that. It's not going to happen. We've seen no successful thing in that. So because many times people think that what I'm talking about here is that I'm talking about taxes. That is not the process. Is about eliminating your taxes. Eliminating your income tax is a benefit of changing your status from being a federal citizen, that's a 14th Amendment citizen, to a citizen of your state, which is based in habitation and domicile. So, um, so yeah, you're not going to be an employer, you're not going to have employees, and you're not going to be an employee. No need for that. And there's no such thing as self-employed. The only way you can be self-employed really is if you set up a corporation and the corporation had employees and you were one of the employees. And so although the corporation is the employer and you're an employee, when you work for yourself, it's not called self-employed. So stop calling it self-employed. When someone says, yeah, I'm self-employed, I ask them, are you an employer? They say no. Are you an employee? They say no. Well, then what's this self-employed crap? Just you're working for yourself. You're working for your clients, other people. Right. So getting back to the company. So you're going to contract with the company. Now, don't refer to yourself as a 1099 contractor. That's what federal citizens and resident aliens are, is they're 1099 contractors. Because what happens is by being a federal citizen, you may be a contractor. And so you may be still filing and paying. And of course, they're going to disclose to IRS a 1099, which I call that a rat form. They rat you out. They tell the IRS, this is how much we paid him. And so the IRS offers the corporation the privilege of writing off certain funds that they're giving, to whoever's being employed by them. So all this is in the federal zone. You don't want to do any of it. Okay. So you're just like going to end that. All right. So are you going to have employees? No, the answer is no. Look, you can contract with anyone you want. If you want someone, if working for you is important enough, have them work for you as a contractor. They're freelancing their labor. So you're just going to have them work for you. There's no statutory uh, citizen in that capacity. You're just going to pay them whatever you want to pay them based on whatever you want to do. That's why you don't have to do minimum wage. You don't have all that. By having a corporation, you're involved with all that nonsense, whether you're going to give them certain benefits or whatever. It's a stinking mess. Government is force. So when you're doing your business, do you want to do business with force? No. Let's say you're doing a charity. Why would you do a 501c3 or some sort of charity? You're doing a great, beautiful, charitable work. You want force involved with it. That's what happens when you join up with government. If you've got some good thing and then you bring force into it, it changes it. A religious thing or something that's spiritual in nature, that's a good thing. Being tied to government as a privilege, that's an abomination. So you don't want that. So that's how that goes. So, well, that was my tribute to Mexico with my Negro Modelo or Modelo Negro, whatever they call it. Anyway, dark or black Modelo. It's a nice tasting beer. That was my. I don't get any. I get no ad revenue from giving that nice endorsement. I give another endorsement for Polar Springs seltzer water. I'm dry as a bone here. Anyway, I'm drinking my seltzer water. So anyway, there's another question here. So let's see what else we have. Um, so in hiring people, don't hire them. Just contract with them. If they want to contract, you want to contract. Just figure out what you want to get paid, and figure out what is your obligation. What are you bringing to the table? How are you going to serve them? What an amazing thing is that when you begin to contract with a company, now you're adding value to the company, and they compensate you accordingly. Don't sell your time by the hour, unless the only time, in my recommendation, that you sell your time by the hour is if what you're doing for work is your joy. It's like truly your joy. and therefore, make sure it's worth it to you. So, but don't sell your life by selling your time by the hour in order to create wealth. Buy or get something that makes you money. Let it make itself available so that it can create wealth for you. It could be buying a piece of property and you're renting it out. Now that property makes you money. You're not having to do certain work in order to do that. Again, if you're going to do certain work by the hour, then make sure it's your joy and make sure you charge appropriately for that. So that's a big deal. Does that make sense? Right. So let's see if there's any other questions here. So I don't know. Elizabeth hasn't made it on, so I can figure out what her question is. I was kind of looking forward to that question. It was about the FOIA. So maybe if you're in our passport process, the workshop, how to do the FOIA is in the body of the documents we supply, and also I cover that in the class of how to do that and what the State Department expects when you give them your FOIA. So that's it. So and if you have a federal 14th Amendment citizen working for you and they file taxes, let them file whatever. You don't have to provide them with anything. But maybe you don't want to have 14th Amendment citizens working for you. That might be true. Does that make sense? Man. And it's amazing. So it's just I get tired, I guess, as I'm coming to the end of my day. You know what it is? It's earlier out here. I think I'm still in East Coast time. I think that's the problem. Earlier today, or no, it was last night. I was looking. I was up. Well, I'm always up late. I was looking at the laptop, and it's still got East Coast time. So I'd be looking at it, and it's like, wow, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. That's terrible. I got to get to bed. Then I go in the room, and it's only 1 o'clock. I'm like, ooh, right, 2 hours difference. Just got myself 2 hours back. But my body's probably feeling like I'm in the East Coast still. So I'm having jet lag. That's what they call it, I guess. But one good thing is my niece, she's in Southern California. She just got married today. How nice is that? And she's marrying a nice young man, and his family's from Greece. So, Michael, we may have to. Sometimes she's going to go over there and actually do up a ceremony and all that. That'll be fun. And yeah, so we might have to take a trip to Greece. How nice will that be? That'll be fun. Yeah, it's always nice to travel. Um, yeah, so that's part of what's coming up, and I don't know if that'll come up this next year or not. This year is going to be a good year. It's going to be our best year ever. Listen, even if it isn't your best year ever, you always start the year off with something better. And look, it's nothing magical, or maybe there is something magical about coming New Year's and creating resolutions and all. Every opportunity that you get to where you can make a resolve, a resolution within yourself to build a better you or create something or a commitment in your life to accomplish a certain level of success in your business or something, or maybe there's a goal of what you're after. It's always good to begin the year with some idea of something different that you'd like to have and what you'd commit to. And so that's exciting all the time. And it's fresh every year. No matter what happened last year, this year can be your best year. And again, let me just take a look at this tonight while we're looking on here, because like yesterday or the day before, earlier in the week, uh, Bitcoin had gone back up over. Um, um, yeah, look, it dropped back down there. Listen, you can make a fortune in Bitcoin. Listen, Bitcoin fluctuates by $10,000 all the time. And like, look, I mean, it was like, I think it was like 101 or 103. And then it just moved back down to, now it's at 94,000. Listen, it's so likely going to go back up to that $103,000, or so it's almost $10,000. So that kind of a growth, like 10%, you can take your money and put it just in Bitcoin at where it is now, and then when it gets up to 103, you just pull out and take your 10% increase on whatever it is that you put into that. It's so easy to make money with that. And of course, if you listen to Michael Saylor and what they call micro strategies, um, they're expecting Bitcoin to be $1 million. So if you want a 100% increase on your return, Bitcoin is safe in that capacity. What a lovely idea. And then there's people that aren't on board with anything crypto, which is fine. But when I'm traveling, you should have digital money with you so that you can move in any area and capacity and buy and sell and do stuff that you want to do. It's definitely convenient. So, but the dollar ultimately will take it on the chin. Now, if as many people think, I think Michael Saylor said, if the federal government takes their stupid Federal Reserve notes and they buy up the remainder of Bitcoin that's available just to back the dollar, buy some Bitcoin, or even to offset the debt based upon the winnings or the rise of Bitcoin, they could literally take Bitcoin and finance and pay off all the debt if they wanted to. But why would they want to? Central bankers don't want that. They want us to be enslaved to them. But that's just so easy. But there's other cryptos that are much lower that are going to get a double and triple, and quadruple, and so you can actually do better than Bitcoin if you want to do that. All these words that I just said are not been approved by the FDA or the CDC or the AMA or any of the other government things, and so do your own study. Whatever, I always hate those disclaimers. Listen, you should believe everything I say, and I'll be responsible for my words, and you can be responsible for you, and I'm not responsible for choices you make, but everything I say is true, or at least everything I say I believe. You do you, and you be you, and you do your own research, and you check everything out, and if things look lovely to you, go for it. But as Mark Cuban would say, no balls, no babies. You got to have some courage to take risks and things like that. And this is good. You know, don't put your hope and your stock in the U.S. dollar and its followers in the stock market, like as if that's going to any minute that can collapse and fail based on some action that happens with the dollar. Or let's say the Russians or the Chinese decide to begin to sell oil separate from the dollar. That'll be a game changer. I mean, someone I read that in the news where I was at the airport. Someone had a tanker full of oil that they got from I want to say Russia or whatever, and so they were bringing it into some port. And they were making like it's illegal because our government has sanctions on countries that don't do that stuff. We're an evil bunch, and we try to control the whole world. So somebody was buying oil for someone else, and so that was bad, illegal, and wrong. And so we're going to punish them because they had the audacity to go somewhere else. What a mess! It's just crazy. So anyway, so yeah, it's going to be a great year this year, and we're looking forward to that. So one of the things I wanted to mention was, um, so we're in Montana here. Um, oh wait, there's some questions here. Let me see if I didn't miss them. Come on, let's see. So here's so everything will be upon themselves to deal with. Oh, let me see if I can back up. They say, I want to run a private business. I need to have people work for me. So how do I deal with hiring others? Well, we already said that. Just contract with them, as everyone has a right to contract. So everything will be upon themselves to deal with them. Um, I can pay them direct, and if they are 14th Amendment citizens, then they can deal with their absolutely. See, that's the exact answer. You pay them, and listen, you're not paying them under the table. You pay them what they ask for, and it doesn't matter how you pay them. Pay them with whatever form that you're okay with and that they're okay with, and they have obligations to the IRS or whatever. You have no such obligations and all that. So don't get enrolled into that whole energy about um, their obligations to file and pay. That's up to them. Stay out of the corporate, stay in the private. That's what I recommend. And so that's cool. Yeah. So there, hey, John, glad to have you on. That rhymes. Someone else is on here. Okay, let's see. Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Holy moly, this platform's not moving for it. It says yes, my goal to find some good workers, steer them to you. Well, that's all cool. Thank you for that. Not necessary, but I appreciate that. But listen, you can even listen. These if you had people working for you, let them be partners. Look, you're gonna pay them a certain amount, and let's say that certain amount is you figure a same number. Maybe it's 1%. Maybe it's uh, a 25th of a percent or whatever it is. Let them share in some of your profits as a partner, a very small partner. They have less control, but they're a partner because they're doing an intrinsic part of the business, fulfilling orders or whatever they're doing, and let them. So when you do really well, they'll do really well. Treat your people well, but you don't have to have an employer-employee relationship. You don't have to do workman's compensation. None of that nonsense. As a private contractor, they can take care of themselves. Now, if they want to have medical care and all these other things, then and if you're their only client, well, then you're going to be the one paying for all their stuff based upon what they charge you. But if and you may have other contractors, so you don't have to like set them up to be like they're an employee and they're going to act and sing and look like an employee, but they're not an employee. Make sure that they're living in some kind of freedom associated working with for you. Because look, if I came to work for you, I just start working and it's like, what? How you want to pay me in crypto, whatever it is? It's great. It's all invoice you, and there you go. That's the end of our relationship. It's really quite freeing. And then, like you said, maybe they'd be up for stop filing and paying. Um, lots of shenanigans. Who uses that word? Sparky, are you? We got some shenanigans. Some shenanigans. Sounds like some Irish thing. Yeah, we had some trouble, and then all of a sudden there were some shenanigans. That definitely sounds Irish to me. Shenanigans are like little trolls that are underneath the bridge when you walk over, like Billy Goat Gruff. It's crazy. So yeah, we'll be wrapping up our call here tonight. We got some work to do for tomorrow. That'll be exciting. And but yeah, we have a lot of support. If you do the passport process, what we have for clients is usually on Tuesday. Right now, I'm traveling, so it's challenging. I'll probably do an employee. I said employee. See, I'll probably do a client call on next Tuesday. So if you're doing the passport process, then you can be on that call and ask questions about business law. And yes, I am going to do a class. I do have a talk on developing or creating wealth for yourself. But I am going to do two classes. I don't know if I'll combine it into one, but I want to invite people to show them that they can easily start a business. You don't need capital. If you can, there's always capital available, but you got to convince somebody that you have a good plan so they can make a return on their investment. But but yeah, you can start a business, whatever it is, and look, it's not difficult. You just start serving people and don't forget to invoice them. And then if you're not doing your own business, then just contract with the company, and that's fine. You'll do just fine for that, and that's cool. Um, let's see here, Chris. Can you answer this? Do we have statutes or just codes since 1873? Well, I don't know who we is, John, and and the difference between statutes and codes. Not in practicality is not a lot, but usually a statute is a bit of a law that's implemented by the legislature of a state. Okay, and so therefore they're writing law. That's usually a statute. A code could be written by like in DMV. Okay, somebody could write up the entire DMV code, and that would be code enforcement, just like IRS is code. And so the legislature doesn't necessarily write it. That would be code enforcement, like what cops do. Um, but statutes usually written by legislatures. So, um, and as far as 1873, is that when the 1873? I'm not sure what the 1873 days. Someone says, I trust the AMA, CDC, and the FDA as much as they, yeah, no kidding. That's true, Spark. It's my assumption that I cannot be partners with 14th Amendment citizens, correct? No, no, no. I don't know. I don't know that maybe you don't want to partner up with someone who's a 14th Amendment citizen, but no. Did you partner up and determine that the pizza guy that you paid wasn't a 14th Amendment citizen? Now you can contract with anybody you want. Okay, their obligations are not your obligations. So I have no such presumption in that way. It's my assumption that I cannot be partners with. Yeah, I don't know that. So I do have Irish blood? That's awesome. Ongoing support. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, so we do a call Tuesday night call for clients. Wednesday night call like this here. We're just broadcasting, letting people know that they can stop filing and paying. In our state citizenship class, which is the foundation of our work here, I'll show you how the income tax is constitutional. People think, and then they get into like, oh, the District of Columbia is the IRS is based in the District of Columbia. It doesn't matter. The District of Columbia is I'm sorry, the Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is in the District of Columbia as well. It's there. It's part of a federal territory, so it doesn't matter if IRS is in Washington D.C., the District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, American Samoa. Doesn't matter. It's all in the federal zone. It's the same thing. People want to make these distinctions. It's not really relevant. So, but anyway, so well, listen. Thanks so much for tonight's call. I was glad you're on, and it's a joy to have you here. Um, I'm saying the work I'm doing with Scott is we're doing his driver's license stuff, and so we're looking to see if he can be tried by a jury of his peers, and if his jury is made up of 14th Amendment citizens, they may not be able to convene a jury unless they get some state citizens in there. That's some of the work we're going to check out tomorrow in the court preparation for a trial next week for $100 ticket. That's amazing. That's Montana for you. So we'll see how that plays out. We got another one to do in Southern California. So that's good. So, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for being on. Be sure to like and subscribe, stuff like that. If you have questions for us, email us at statecitizen@destinationfreedom.org. And I'm so thankful for you, and I wish you well. Be happy, choose that, and be free. Okay, and you be sure to have a great night. We will see you next week. All right, take care. God bless. And so let's see if